It got worse, but I feel like it's about to get worse. Oh! It got worse.
Okay.
Oh man, that first clip. What a freaking gold digger mentality, am I right? Either way, this compilation is about dating after divorce, so, you know, there's gonna be some train wrecks in here. Hold on tight, we're about to take off. Strap in, guys.
It is super bright out here. I don't know how I'm going to record this video, but I've tried to record this video like 20 times over the past week, so it's happening. Here you go. So I definitely mislabeled that last video. I said, called it the day I got caught, which implies that I was still in the middle of cheating when it happened. It was more just like the day he found out about what had happened. At that point, the physical cheating had been several months beforehand, and even the communication had been just a friend type communication for over a month and a half, I think, at that point. All right, I really might have to move because it is very bright out here. But just like also as a reminder, this was 2 years ago. This isn't a current thing. This is me reflecting on what happened, processing why it happened, and figuring out how to move forward and heal and forgive myself. My ex is remarried. He's happy, which is great. And so, as much as I appreciate all the feedback as far as how people feel about people that have cheated, I get it. It was really just processing and healing. So when he got home, he had questions. He wanted to know who this guy I had been talking to was, why the conversation was muted, and why there was such a large quantity of conversations. He had never heard of him, but he didn't actually see anything in our messages. And so at that point, internally for me, it was okay, we can either just lie and say he's just a friend, like, I don't know why the conversation was muted, I don't, whatever, it's not a big deal, let's go get food. That was mental plan A. But the thing is, like, there was so much internal turmoil for months about wanting to tell him and not knowing how, or so the other side was like, just tell him everything. And so for a solid maybe 10 minutes, I went with plan A, and I was like, he's just a friend. The thing is, I'm not that good of a liar. And finally, I just told him everything. And at that point, either that day or throughout the week, we decided we were going to work on it. And we did for a little while. And anyways, the story is not as juicy as I guess it sounded like it was going to be. But that's really not the point of these. The point of these is just processing through what happened, learning from a bad choice that I had made, and figuring out how to move forward. Anyways, happy Sunday.
Okay.
Wow, color me surprised. I really wasn't expecting to see this in that compilation of a woman honestly recalling about how she cheated on a man and completely dismantled a marriage. Shout out to that guy. I'm glad he's happy and she's still picking up the pieces and trying to move on with her life. I feel like by being honest, it'll help her get through this. But you know, shame on her for doing it in the first place. You've got to be an adult, and instead of getting to that point, just should have just initiated divorce beforehand instead of making things absolutely terrible for for him and yourself in turn, because look what's happening. Still doesn't have anybody, and he's happily with someone else. Dealt with it, moved on from her. Anyways, let's move on to the next one.
So recently had to tell somebody for the first time that I'm going through a divorce. Ew. So for one, I'm not a big dater, so I've been like officially single for over for a year now. And even the guys that I did speak to, either they already knew me, so they already knew that I was married in my situation. We didn't have to talk about it. And the other guy that I had spoke to in the middle, before my last son, when me and my ex broke up, he was married too. So he slipped it in. I said, hey, me too. He said, yeah. So anyways, so I never really had to have like the conversation like for real, you know? But recently, this man was like really interested in taking me out. He's older and like has everything going for himself and all this stuff. And then he messaged me and told me something that was like personal. It was like, just in case you want to run. And obviously, like that, I'm not that. Yeah, I mean, unless it was something crazy. If he would tell me something crazy, I would be like, but it wasn't. It was just something that he wanted me to know. But I thought, wow, this is the perfect time to tell him that I'm married. You know. And honestly, I feel like usually it's not anybody's business. Unless I'm really trying to date you, unless you're really trying to date me and you care, but if not, but whatever, I was like, fuck it. So I was with my friend and my sister. I was like, oh my God, what do I say? So I was just like, hey, like, just so you know, to give you the same option you gave me, I'm actually going through divorce right now. We've been over for a long time, haven't lived together in over a year. I got married young, but it's done. We're both moving on. Whatever. And obviously he didn't care. Like, he was like, I got you. Don't worry about it. Like, I got you. I said, okay. But definitely weird, like, having to actually have that conversation. And I realized, like, the more that I do date, if I do date, I'm gonna have to have the conversation more. So if you're, like, a young girl who got divorced young or whatever, if you got married young and divorced early, you're not alone. We're going through this together. And like, men don't really care for the most part. Like, most men don't care. Even my, like, one of my best friends, I remember I brought it up to him one time, and I was in love with him, so I was like, oh my God, everybody, like, do you think somebody would want to date me even though I'm married? Anyway, and he was like, that's just a piece of paper. Like, anybody who like has something going for them is like, okay, cool, but we're getting rid of it, right? So it don't really matter. I'm not worried about it. Big Daddy's here. I say, hey, you're right. I wish it was you, but anyway. So yeah. So I had to do it for the first time. So if you're thinking about dating and you are going through a divorce or newly divorced or whatever, and you're young, like, don't worry about it. Be honest. If you feel like, if you don't want to tell somebody, that's your business. That's your business. You can pick and choose whenever you want to tell somebody something. But if you want to take somebody serious or they want to take you serious, you should probably let them know. And good luck. And just tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? You a baddie. You're the prize. There's nothing wrong with you.
Okay. Yeah, that was a lot to process. Another long one of those. I honestly think that men, women, should be straightforward on their dating profiles and mention that they've been married, that they have children, etc., because when you get to that first, second, third date, if they've been lying, or you've been lying, it's just not going to reflect well and probably end up causing things to not go anywhere further than that, unless you're just having some casual fun, then but that's just where they get put sometimes. Oh man, 3 minutes of a TikTok that we didn't really need to listen to, other than the advice of just be honest if you've been divorced. Marriage is definitely more than a piece of paper, but it's not like the majority of us are going to go down that route. It's just not worth it for men nowadays anymore, I find. Hey, I'm gonna wrap things up there at the 10-minute mark. Thank you for listening to me ramble on, and I hope that you enjoyed some clips in this compilation. I'll be seeing you again. Always do your due diligence, and talk to you soon. Bye now.